If you're an artist or creative, you should be angry. Let me tell you why. Hey, welcome. My name is Jonathan. I love to hang out on the corner of creativity, entrepreneurship, and faith. And so I started this channel as a place to talk about it and as a place to hang out with other people, fellow creatives like you, who also like to think about creativity, entrepreneurship, and faith. Thank you for being here for the first time. Thank you for those of you who have come back. I'm excited to talk to you today because every month, once a month, I host a gathering of creative friends, fellow creatives come to my house. We eat a good meal together. We talk about interesting things having to do with our creativity. We talk about wins. We resonate on sufferings that we experience as creatives, mental battles we're going through, and we share creative work that we're working on. We share our projects that we're working on with one another. And in general, we just try to encourage each other. Well, a few months ago, we met, and the thing that we were talking about was how to put more of ourselves into our creative works. Because there's this concept that is in the world that I really believe in, which is called steal like an artist. And the whole idea is that nothing is truly original, that we're all pulling from our influences, from a bunch of different influences, and what makes you original in your creative work is not that you are coming up with stuff out of nowhere, but that you alone are a mix of all of your influences, that no one has all of the same influences as you and is then also including the element of yourself, an element of your own vibe to the things that you're creating. That's what makes you unique. But we were talking about that and just talking about how sometimes what makes art, what makes creations not good, what makes it bad is whenever we are not stealing in the right ways, whenever we are trying too hard to be a reflection of someone else's work. So in that way, we become a reflection of a reflection. And you can see this in some major industries sometimes with creative work, is that it just feels like everyone is trying to make the same thing because they know that that sells. And because everyone is trying to make the exact same thing, it gets stale, it gets boring, it becomes art that's not very good. And so we were just talking about how can we make creative work that's good. And the key ingredient is adding ourselves to our creative work, because we have our own thoughts and opinions, our feelings, our experiences. There's so much about us that adds a unique flavor to what we're making. I've talked about Andy Pizza before here in these videos. He has a great podcast called The Creative Pep Talk, and he talked about how your art, the things that you create, is a synesthesia of you. And synesthesia is really just a blending of different senses. So for example, it's like the ability to see colors when you hear sounds. That's probably one of the most common versions of synesthesia. And basically what he was saying is that your art is a synesthesia of you. Basically, if you could hear, see, experience my soul, my thoughts, my feelings, my beliefs, if you could take that in through your senses, that's what art is. We're putting that into the world. We're pouring ourselves into our art, and that's part of what makes our art good. And sometimes part of what makes our art not good is when we're not truly pouring ourselves into the works that we're making. And so at our creative gathering that night, we were just talking through a bunch of different ways we can more intentionally, with more awareness, pour more of ourselves into our creative work so that our creative work can be good and so that it can continue to reflect uniqueness and originality and not feel just like a copy of everything that everyone else is doing. And there was one topic that really seemed to resonate and interest most everyone that was there. And it was the topic of realizing that we should be angry. That anger is actually a really good thing. A lot of times we think of anger as being bad, but anger, we were realizing as we're talking, is a secondary emotion. Anger, really what it's doing is it's reflecting things that we care about. It's showing us things that matter to us. And so one of the ways that we can be intentional about pouring ourselves into our art is to think about and be aware of the things that make us angry, because anger fuels passion. If you're passionate about something, it means you care about it. And oftentimes you can discover your passions by realizing the things that make you angry. For example, from my own life, I realized a few years ago that not only do I love making music, not only do I love doing my own creative work, but I also realized I was getting angry and I was getting indignant when I saw fellow creative friends that I love give up on their creative work because one person wasn't discovering them, because they didn't feel like they could make it, or because they couldn't figure out a way to build a career off of what they were doing, and so they just felt like they just were no good. Things like that make me angry and frustrated, and I instantly want to dive in and fix it and help them figure out a game plan for how they can go out there and they can do their creative work and they connect with an audience and how they can maybe even make an income from their creative work. I was angry, and I was realizing that that anger was reflecting a passion in my heart, that I'm passionate not only about making my stuff, but I'm passionate about helping other creative people do their creative work and reach their creative goals by going out there and just doing it. And I'm really good at helping come up with strategy, helping market and share, and teaching other people how to do that. So anyway, that was all rooted in anger. And so the more I began to realize that those things make me angry, because those things are the things I care about, those are the things I'm passionate about, it helped me realize, well, maybe I should take my craft of loving to make videos. Maybe I should take my craft of loving to write, loving to come up with ideas, loving to communicate. Maybe I should aim all of that at helping fellow creatives. Thus, I'm making this video for you right now, and I've created this channel, and I'm just trying to lean into more of who I am and put more of who I am into the things that I create, and learning what I was angry about, getting in touch with, wow, that's making me angry. Why is it making me angry? What's the passion underneath my anger? What's the thing that I care about underneath the anger? Helped me to go, oh, well, maybe I should move in this direction. Maybe I should create stuff that reflects the things that I care about. Because when we make stuff that reflects the things that we care about, we tend to be better creators. We tend to make some of our best stuff. It's really hard to make things that don't reflect things you actually care about. There are times when you have to make stuff that you don't care about all that much. That happens to me all the time. I get commissioned to write songs or to do things creatively that is a job and something that I just need to make for someone else because they're asking me to make it. And that's fine. That's totally something that we just have to do as creative people sometime to contribute to the world and to make income for ourselves and our families. But if we want to do our best creative work, then being in touch with what makes us angry is really, really helpful. So my encouragement to you is to take some time, maybe journal, maybe reflect, and think on what makes you angry. What are the things that you're passionate about? What are the things that you deeply care about so much that even when you think about it, you get a little upset, you get a little angry, you find a little bit of like your blood starting to boil because you care about that thing. How can you take that and add more of that into your art, add more of that into your creative work? If you can do that, if you can kind of pour that ingredient, I guess, into your creative work, I think you'll find yourself enjoying the things you're making a little bit more. And it's likely that it will be better and more unique and original because you are pouring more of yourself into it. So that's my encouragement for you today, is to go be angry. You should be angry. Don't tell yourself that anger is all bad. Anger is bad when we use it in bad ways. And we have to be careful to not use our anger in bad ways, but instead to realize this anger is informing me about something that I love and I care about. And so how can I get underneath this anger and channel it in productive ways? And a productive way to channel your anger is through your creative work. So go do that. Go figure out those things. I hope it helps you make some of the best stuff that you've ever made. That's all I have for today's video. If it makes you angry, the thought of not being able to see future videos I'm posting, then you should subscribe. And that way you won't miss a video, and you won't miss the video that I'm posting tomorrow, because I'll be back tomorrow with a brand new video. I hope to see you there. Bye, friends.